Good morning. I am happy to be here again with you. This will be my third time I've been with you, and today we're going to be talking about the best screencasting software. So before I start, we need to really talk about what is screencasting. So screencasting is a digital video recording of your computer screen. It usually includes audio. So I want you to think about screencasting as an instructional video that we can use in education and our educational setting, whether that be in the brick and mortar classroom or whether it's online in the virtual school environment. So it's a recording. You're able to record your computer screen. It has many advantages, to include being able to allow you to show your tabs, your search bar. You can see right here my cursor. And next, what we're going to talk about is why should we use screencasting in our classrooms? Well, it's a great way to share knowledge and engage not only ourselves with the students, but engage the students. So we have some research that shows that screencasting engages the individual with the individual student work. Through screencasting, we can establish dialogue between the teacher and the student, provide feedback, and I'm going to talk about feedback a little bit more because there is some really great evidence-based research on the power of feedback. But we can provide feedback of strengths and areas that need to be improved when reviewing student work. Can actually teach through assessment, and this is a really, really important feature that we can use screencasting for. We can give step-by-step explicit instructions. We can use screencasting in a flipped or a semi-flipped instruction for targeted interventions or just as a regular classroom instructional strategy. And this is a great advantage of why we should use it, is these screencasts can be watched at any time. A student can watch it again to review the information. You can pause the video at any time. I have this really powerful information from Luongo in 2015, and the research shows that using screencasting as an instructional strategy can provide equivalent outcomes to face-to-face teaching. So I think it's important before I go through three different screencasting software is that we know the importance and some evidence-based research on good teaching practices, because this is going to be important when we're talking about using screencasting as an instructional strategy. So evidence-based research shows us that high-quality feedback makes a difference and has been reported to be the most powerful factor in improving learning. It's by Harper in 2015. Feedback is more powerful when it includes the verbal explanations, which we can do through screencasting. Students benefit when teachers can give more in-depth explanations. We can also do this through screencasting because our normal teaching in a classroom doesn't necessarily give us that time that we need to take these students aside to do our one-on-one conferences. The dialogue that we can that benefits through screencasting between teacher and the learning improves outcomes, and this feedback can improve motivation and student engagement. So let's go ahead and look at some research findings using screencasting as an instructional tool, which I alluded to in my last slide. Harper in 2018 found that screencasting increased engagement and motivation for both educators and students. The use of screencasting was relationship building. Screencasting increased the clarity and the comprehensibility of material, especially in distance learning. So I do want to let you know that this Harper research was done through a distance learning environment, which some of us are still involved in. A student's perception of screencasting was they felt more engaged, they felt that they had a more personal relationship with the teacher and that the teacher cared. Also showed an increase in understanding by the students. Another study by Henry in 2020, and this was also done in a distance learning virtual environment, provided more opportunities for feedback, which provided more quality feedback. And this sends students asking students questions in the screencast to promote more thinking. And both teachers and students found that face-to-face feedback conferences and screencast videos were equally as effective and easy to use through a questionnaire. Now I want to talk about this 2020 research. This was interesting because this was using screencasting actually in a face-to-face environment. And these researchers found that students reported a better understanding when given feedback through screencasts and through face-to-face conferences. And this was because students were able to, as I said before when I was introducing screencasting, is they were able to review the video, pause it when they needed to, go back and review. It was also perceived as less intimidating for students. And these particular researchers used Screencastify, which I am going to talk about as one of the 3 softwares. They use Screencastify as a flipped and as a semi-flipped instruction for targeted intervention. And they found that this improved outcomes in grammatical errors and writing. They also use screencasting as a flipped pedagogy, and this helped to increase learners the reflective thinking and accountability on learning. So let's go to the standalone screen capture and software that I want to talk about, and 2 of them are readily available to you free of charge. I'm starting with Screencastify. Because we use Google, we can add a Google Chrome extension, and it's a free option. It allows us as teachers and students to use it. It's recommended by Common Sense as the best option as a drawing tool. Has a free plan, and it does have a subscription also if you want to upgrade. But the free plan allows teachers and students to record up to 5 minutes. The software also offers many ideas to integrate teaching tools into the classroom. And as I said, Henry, through this research, found that this was very easy to use for both teachers and students. The one that I use and the one that I'm using now is Screencastomatic. This particular software was recommended by Common Sense in 2020 as the #1 software screencasting capture and software for students and teachers. That's why I use it. It's really easy to use. I would recommend, if you're starting out, that this would be a good starting point. It has a free plan with many features, useful features, with upgrade options. I did upgrade, but I find I don't really use that upgrade. So I'd go with the free plan. You can zoom in, you can trim your recordings, you can add captions, and you can share the videos in the Google Classroom. I think this is a great place to start, and if you need some help, I can absolutely help you with that. You could do the paid plan. It's only $1.65 a month to add the other tools, but I don't think that this is necessarily important. I'm already recording at over 8 minutes, and so I think Screencastomatic might be a tool to use so you can record a little bit longer. The last one I'm going to talk about is Jing. You can see that I have a lot of information because you have to pay for this software. So the features provided are plentiful. You can use a pre-made layout. Images are inherent within the software. You can grab individual frames and record. It's very professional looking. You can take objects on the screen. They're movable. You can edit your text. And this is really cool because you can share directly not only with Google Drive, but with Gmail, Word, Excel, Outlook, and many other numerous sites. And instructors reported it takes about an hour to become familiar. That's Harper. But after that, it's pretty easy to use. I'm going to be honest, I haven't used Jing, but I have used Screencastify and Screencastomatic. So as beginners, I would suggest the first 2 softwares. I've added references here and direct links. These are some really awesome articles if you would like to use screencasting more. So thanks for attending, and I'm readily available if you have any questions.